Hey Dragonfly Swarm, it's no secret that while Genshin Impact is generally a game that you can complete using any and all characters, there's something special that gives just about every Cryo character in the game an edge of popularity with a large part of the player base. And though it's always been pretty widely accepted that Cryo characters and Cryo as an element is one of, if not the strongest in the game, but I wanted to discuss exactly why that is today, because it isn't really as simple as some of the best characters in the game being Cryo, although that is true. Ganyu, Ayaka, and Eula are absolute powerhouse DPS units that have set the bar wildly high. It's a bit deeper than that though, so with that, let's begin by discussing something that I rarely ever hear anyone talk about: Cryo's insane elemental versatility. Every element in the game has some sort of reaction, and for the most part, with each element, their reactions are rather streamlined. For example, all of Pyro's current reactions revolve around damage, Overload, Vaporize, and Melt being the forefront of Pyro's title as a powerful DPS element, but that's all Pyro can do with reactions when you exclude the simple Swirl and Crystallize reactions. Hydro, while a bit more versatile than Pyro, still focuses mostly on damage with Electrocharge, Vaporize reactions, and then Freeze being its crowd control reaction. And then obviously we don't know much of anything about Dendro yet, but I hope we do soon, miHoYo. I am hungry for Dendro. That sounded like a vegetarian thing. Nah, I just want to see plants do big numbers. Anyways, Cryo stands at the top of these reactions in terms of versatility because all three of its reactions are the best in their class at what they do, and they all do different things. For example, Melt multiplies damage just like Vaporize, and it does it very well, making it an amazing reaction for characters such as Kaya and Diona to set up, and it's even great for multiplying Ayaka and Ganyu's damages in certain builds. Then there's the Freeze reaction, which inherently all it does is enable you to perma-freeze all enemies except for bosses, and that alone doesn't sound too crazy besides being by far the best crowd control reaction in the game, but given the Cryo Resonance passive as well as the passive on the Blizzard Strayer artifact set, Freeze becomes a reaction that allows a Cryo DPS unit such as Ganyu and Ayaka to deal massively increased damage, making it way more cool than it already was. Cool because it's cool. Cold because they're frozen. And then there's a really unique reaction with Cryo called Superconduct, in which the reaction itself deals an explosion of damage, but it also shreds physical resistance, which suddenly turns Cryo into an element that not only enables and supports its own damage, but also the damage of any unit that can do decent physical damage, as long as they're Cryo or Electro. This is inherently why Eula is one of the best DPS in the game, because even when you set aside her entire kit full of physical shredding, at a fundamental level, her elemental reactions alone can assist her in dealing more physical damage. And this will be the case with all future Electro and Cryo physical DPS users, making it a weird and kinda niche but devastating reaction in the right hands. So yeah, in terms of elemental reactions, Cryo is by far the most versatile, and even beyond that, all of its reactions grant useful and unique playstyles to its wielders. So already there's always going to be a large pool of playstyles to choose from whenever you decide to main a Cryo character, making them way more viable and versatile than a lot of other picks. And while Eula isn't the best example of this, given she only has one really viable playstyle, Ganyu and Ayaka are prime examples of this. Despite both of them boasting some of the highest damage output in the game, they can both flex as supportive or sub-DPS focused characters, given they can enable perma-freeze comps and apply Cryo for melt comps. So while they're usually played as main DPS units, they have so many unique reactions at their disposal that they can perform any number of ways. And this also includes utility characters like Kaya and Diona, who can both fit really nicely as enablers for electrophysical DPS users and pyro DPS users that want melt reactions. In Kaya's case, he provides almost constant Cryo application, and in Diona's case, while not as constant as Kaya's, C6 Diona provides huge buffs to the damage of both Superconduct and Melt. Then there's characters like Rosaria who, while in all honesty most people use her as a physical shred support, she can pretty much be used just as easily in freeze comps and melt comps with no drawbacks, because she has great Cryo application and a lot of cool ways to buff her team while doing her thing. That kind of rhymed. That kind of rhymed. But that's enough rambling about reactions, because the second point I wanted to make in this pick-me video to the Tsaritsa is Cryo Resonance. It is absolutely insane. So while all elements in the game provide cool and unique buffs, some of the strongest of which being Animal Resonance and Geo Resonance, Cryo once again comes out on top because of its, once again, insane versatility. Simply put, with Cryo Resonance, your crit rate against enemies that are frozen or affected by Cryo is increased by 15%. And it seems like a cute little innocent little passive, but it's not, because Blizzard Strayer exists. It's already a pretty universal artifact set for Cryo characters, but with its 4-piece passive on top of Cryo Resonance, you're gaining a total of 55% crit rate against frozen enemies, plus the 5% crit rate that all characters, except Kokomi, may she rest in pearls, receive. So when, for example, you use characters like Rosaria, Ayaka, Ganyu, or Kaya with a 4-piece Blizzard Strayer and place them into a permafreeze team, they'll have pretty much constantly 60% crit rate, meaning you'd theoretically never have to invest a single point into crit rate against the right enemies. Now, obviously, enemies won't always be frozen, and some enemies, such as bosses, can't be frozen, but that shouldn't at all devalue the 40% crit rate that you can still get with your Cryo DPS characters simply by hitting your enemies with cryo damage. Because what this all means essentially is that even without freeze comps, you'll only have to invest a very little bit into crit rate stats, and the rest can go into crit damage, making cryo users extremely easy to build and invest in overall. This is one of the many reasons why so many people praise Ganyu and Ayaka as two of the strongest DPS characters in the game, because even disregarding their innate crit scaling, if you give them cryo resonance, they become extremely easy to build and invest in to reach their huge potential. And as I said regarding my point on elemental reactions, this is going to be the case with all future cryo DPS. It's not some exclusive character passive we're talking about. I mean, it's literally the element's overall resonance passive that all cryo characters can make use of. Cryo as an element is just the do-it-all element, and by do-it-all, I do mean do it all while doing it all very well. So inevitably, since they have access to some of the most versatile passives and elemental reactions in the game, cryo characters are just by nature refreshing and powerful characters to play. Given they're so easy to build as well, they're great characters to choose to main and invest in, and for that, a lot of people in the Genshin community have fallen in love with the playstyles that Ganyu and Ayaka and Eula provide to the game, and they remain some of the highest regarded DPS units in Genshin Impact to this day. Now I gotta go email this video to the Saritsa so I can get a free cryo vision. Until then, you should totally subscribe so I can keep you updated on how that goes. Or you could join my Discord server or follow me on Twitch, because I'd love to see you around sometime. All those links are down below, and I'm gonna go figure out what weapon type I'm gonna be, because I'm thinking cryo bow user, because I really like bows, but I probably can't aim for shit.